today we're going to go over lesson 1.4, okay? And what I want you to know is that in 1.4 there are 3 different strategies that they introduce to you for you to use, and they want to know which strategy does your brain think of, which strategy do you look at and say, oh, that makes sense. So you don't ever have to use all of them. And we found in our class that a couple of the strategies, oh, we totally got. And then a couple of strategies were like, eh. So if your brain doesn't see the numbers that way, don't worry about it. But it's just kind of getting us looking at numbers and how we can change them in our brain and look at them differently so that we can add these numbers up in our brain. We are not trying to get an estimate. We are getting an exact answer, but we're trying to get an exact answer by moving the numbers around in our head, okay? And then, of course, we have to show how we moved them around in our head. Okay, so one way that they showed us how to do it was with a number line, okay? So we could use a number line to show it. And that seemed to be an easy way. And everybody in class said, oh, we've done that before. We did that last year. Okay, so let's say I had the problem, what should we do? We'll do the problem 34 plus 18. Let's say our numbers are 34 plus 18, and we want to show this on a number line. All right, so everybody's gonna be different, but you could start it, of course we could start at 34. It's always easier to start at the bigger number and then add on the smaller number. You could start at 18 and do 34 hops, but it was just, you'd have to hop a lot more. So you'd be more tired, right? So we're always gonna start at the bigger number, and I'm gonna hop for 18, let's see. I'm gonna hop 10 plus 10. And if I hop 10, if I'm at 34, I'm gonna be at 44, right? Okay? Now I know 44, I need to add, I already added 10, now I need to add 8 more. Now some of your friends are just doing that, plus 8, and then they'd end up at 52, right? So you could do it that way, plus 8. But really, what's easier is if you break them into pieces, okay? So I'm at 44, I added 10, and I know from 44, if I add 6, I would get to 50, right? If I add 6, I would get to 60, to 50, because I know if I have 4 in my ones column, I need 6 more to get to the next 10. So I'd be at 50, so 10, 6, 16, I need to add 18, so I need 2 more, plus 2 would get me to 52. You could do it that way. Another way we could do it on the number line, somebody else did it this way in your class. Started at 34, and they said, oh, plus 6, I know my friendly numbers, plus 6 would get me to 40, plus 10 would get me to 50, so 6 plus 10 is 16, I need 2 more, plus 2 would get me to 52, okay? So one strategy is using a number line, and this would be showing how you're thinking of it. You're making hops on the number line. That's one strategy. And that's one that you used last year, so that one might be a little bit simpler. Another strategy, and I'll do this one in a different color. Another strategy is friendly numbers, okay? Friendly numbers. Friendly numbers, we're going to take 34, and I'm going to know that 34, if I add 6, 34, well, if I add 6, oopsie, sorry, 34 plus 6 would get me to 40, right? Would get me to 40. So then I'm going to take my other number, 18, and if I added 6 to 34, I need to subtract 6 to this one. 18 minus 6 is 12. So what's 40 plus 12? 52, which is the same answer I got on the number line. So friendly numbers, we're adding up our friendly number, our complement of 10. So I know I need to add 6 more, that would get me to 40, and then I take whatever I added to my first number, I need to take away from my second number. Look how we could do it the opposite way. We could do 18, and I need to add 2, would get me to 20. So then I could do 34 minus 2 would get me to 32, and then add those two together would be 52. Same answer, okay? But I'm using friendly numbers, those numbers that add up to 10. Okay, those two ways seemed to be the ways that everybody in class were like, oh yeah, that's great, okay, I get that, yeah. All right. The way that was a little bit trickier was what we called compatible numbers. Okay, so, sorry, the light's bad there, but let's take a look at compatible numbers. We could use our diagram of Quinn right here that we've talked about. We could use our diagram of Quinn to make compatible numbers. We could also say, okay, ready? 34, if I take 34, a number close to 34 would be 30, and what did I do to it? I subtracted 4, right? So it would be, 34 is equal to 30 plus 4, and then 18 would be 20 minus 2. So then I work this, ready? 30 plus 20 is 50, and 4 minus 2 is 2, so 50 plus 2 is 52. This way was a lot of shifting. When we did friendly numbers, whatever you did to the top, if you added 6 to the top, then you subtract 6 to the bottom. That way seemed to be a little bit easier for everybody. This way, where you did one thing and you did a different thing and then you have to figure out the difference, was a little bit trickier for everybody. So some people really liked this compatible numbers, and if that sticks in your brain, then that's great. But most of your friends, I would say, preferred either the number line or friendly numbers. And the whole point of the lesson is to say, okay, if you see 34 plus 18, how could you attack that and solve it in your head without having to write it down? How could you solve that? And what helps you solve that? Which strategy helps you solve that? So sometimes you're just gonna have to give an answer, but sometimes you're gonna have to explain and show. And you could show it on a number line, or you could show it with friendly numbers, or you could show it with compatible numbers, or you could explain in words how you attacked that mentally. How did you get 34 plus 18, right? So all those ways of doing it, whatever pops into your head first is what you need to do. That's the strategy you need to use, okay? Because whatever you see, however you see it, is going to be the easiest way for you to get the correct answer. But notice how no matter which way we did it, we came down to that 34 plus 18 is 52, because there's an exact answer that's correct, but there's lots of different ways to think about it. And that's what we were exploring in this lesson. So you're going to do a couple more examples and explain how you think about it. Explain either in words or a picture. Explain on the paper how you attack that problem. Okay?